Good morning. Hope everyone can hear me there. If you could let me know in the chat box, I appreciate it. Want to make sure my microphone is working. All right, thank you so much. So I am flying solo this morning. So I am going to put my contact information in the chat box for my Facebook and YouTube friends. It's just hard for me to monitor that chat box as I go through today's presentation. Today, we're going over how to boost your credit score in 2025, specifically how to get your credit score up 60 points in 60 days. This is a follow-up for my Wednesday evening webinars, how I teach people to purchase with just a few $1,000s out of pocket using all of the down payment assistance programs and grants that are out there across the country. So if you're looking for more information on that, please go to the App Store, be it Apple Store or Google Play Store, and download my application. It's called No Down Payment. So it's a greenhouse with a 0 on it. And anyways, when you download that application, you can input any address in the US and it'll tell you how many programs are out there that will help you purchase with 0 down, all the down payment assistance money, all the grant money that's out there. So I just did one for someone in California yesterday, $161,000 in Los Angeles. So an incredible amounts of money out there, and this money's free. So it's just that people just don't know about it or know how to access it. So that's the reason I developed that application. So please go out there, download that. If you actually enter the property address and then after it tells you how many programs you qualify for, enter your personal information, it will actually email you a complete list of all the programs and the dollar amounts associated with each program. So pretty powerful application. So, and please pass that along to as many people as possible. I find that there are so many people out there that would love to achieve home ownership and feel like money is what holds them back. So there's two things that typically hold people back in their own minds, at least: money and credit. So I will tell you, money should not hold you back. There's so many free grants and down payment assistance programs out there, even for people with less than average credit. I mean, a lot of the programs will go down to 600 credit scores, some even down to 580, and some of the grant programs even go lower. So this webinar, though, is how to boost your credit scores to qualify for some of those programs. So we're going to spend some time going over some of the tricks and tips that I recommend. After spending over 25 years in the mortgage world, I've got a pretty good handle as far as how they look at credit, and more importantly, how you can quickly manipulate your credit to get a quick spike in your score. So with that being said, I'm going to jump right in. All right. So who is today designed for? It's designed for people whose credit scores are in that 500 to 600 area. So we're going to teach you how to get that quick bounce, but these techniques and tools that I'm going to give you are most effective if your score is in that 500 to 600 range. Or if you have no credit scores, there are options, and we can teach you how to build credit quickly. Or if you had the misfortune of going through a recent bankruptcy, repossession, collections, we're going to teach you how to deal with all of those to get on track in a quick time frame. And just anyone who wants to understand how the mortgage industry works from the credit side and the different hurdles that you may or run into. So why do I do this? All right. The rental market is in pretty rough shape out there. What's going on and what renters are charging are absolutely, it's crazy. I actually started doing some Instagram posts just comparing it, at least where I am in Southeastern Michigan. It's not uncommon for a 3-bedroom house to be $1,400 a month. And I can actually get people in for $1,200 a month or $1,300 a month for that same payment or for that same house, just a couple doors down. So the rental market's in pretty rough shape, at least in my neck of the woods. And by all accounts, from what I hear across the country, it's happening everywhere. Also, there's a lot of misinformation with regards to how to fix your credit. There's a lot of companies out there that want to try to do credit counseling and do credit repair and stuff like that. A lot of things that you don't need. And I'll go over those in just a few moments. And I find that there are a lot of people, they're just overpaying for those services too. So really no reason to do that. So my goal for you, is, at least today, is going to teach you how to get your score up 60 points in 60 days. We're going to teach you how to identify areas on your credit report that are ripe for a quick impact, help you build new credit if you need that, and set some reasonable goals and predictable, successful timelines. So every tip that I'm going to give you, I try to give you a timeline with it. Okay, if you add this, it's going to take this. So we'll try to break it down that way so you know what's going to be the best path for you to go. So now people ask, why do I do this? Well, if any of you have been to my no down payment webinars, how to access different grants and down payment assistance programs, you understand some of the trials and tribulations I've been through in my life. I actually had to rebuild my own credit, which would have been 15 years ago after a couple of business meltdowns. So, we had bankruptcy, foreclosure, all of that. So I know how to do it. And I can tell you firsthand, the tools that are available today are a heck of a lot easier than what were available 15 years ago. Old school. I had to write letters and stuff like that, which still prepared to do. And there's still an effective way to do things. But with all the technology and tools that we have at our fingertips, it's actually a lot easier now. So it's very easy for me to coach people some of the best ways to get those quick spikes. But first, let's start off by understanding the industry. Okay, so the mortgage industry operates different than a lot of other industries for credit, like automotive, personal finance, things like that. The mortgage credit world is one of the few areas that focus on just one scoring model. They look at the FICO scoring model. They typically look at the algorithms for the 2, 3, 4, and 5 scoring models. Now, there are 3 credit bureaus. Okay, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Typically, they're going to report credit scores. You'll find they fall in the range anywhere from 300 to 850. Now, in the mortgage world, there are some different ways that they calculate those scores, but for the programs that I enjoy connecting people with to purchase with very little money out of pocket, they still look at the middle score. Okay, that's the key. So regardless of where your scores are, they're always going to focus on that middle one. So if you have a 500 score, a 600 score, and a 620, they're going to go for the 600. Okay. So as we are looking at your credit, I don't focus on that low score. Okay. Is your high score in the strike zone, or is your middle score in the strike zone? Sometimes we just want to focus on those 2 bureaus that are your middle and high to make sure we can get them where it needs to be. Okay. Now, ideally, we want to get your credit score above a 600. If I get your credit score above a 600, we have the ability to tap you into some down payment assistance programs and grants. So that's typically the current strike zone, and it's been there for quite some time. So I don't imagine that changing, but we are starting to see some shifts in the credit world. Now, before I get too much further into this, let me give you, I'm going to give you a link to my calendar. Okay. No down payment required.org/book. This is a link directly to my calendar where you can schedule a call with me. Okay. I love learning people's situation, putting myself in their shoes and telling you what I would do to get a quick spike in your score. So let me jump in here. Let me put it in the other one as well. Got it. And there we go. Put that in the chat box. Okay. Now, when it comes to your credit that's showing up on your credit reports, you're going to find that a lot of creditors only report to 1 or 2 of the 3 bureaus. A lot of the credit building tools will report to all 3, but a lot of creditors themselves typically report to 2. So for example, Toyota or Ford Motor Credit, they typically will report to 2 bureaus. So don't be surprised if your scores are different, because not all creditors report to all credit bureaus. So today, like I said, we want to teach you how to isolate areas on your credit report that are ripe for a quick spike. and on that middle and high credit score if we need it. Okay. Now, what goes into your credit score? Well, payment history is by far and away the most powerful thing and the biggest component of what goes into your credit score. So 35% of what determines your credit score is based on your credit history. So ideally, we don't want any late payments in the last 12 months. Okay. If you do happen to have that, schedule a call with me. I'm happy to coach you how to call those creditors and request for them to move a late payment. Now, if it's an isolated late payment, it's usually, a 50-50 shot. If there are several late payments, it becomes a little bit more challenging, but it's always worth making a call. I actually had a young lady last month that had a 60-day late with Toyota. She made the phone call. The first person she talked to said no. Thank you very much for your help, but can I speak with the supervisor? Is how I typically coach people to say it. And then that supervisor is like, hey, the lady made 24 payments on time. And then she had what turned into a 60-day late. Now, she didn't get rid of the 60-day late, but she reduced it from a 60-day late to a 30-day late. Okay. And that was the difference for us to get her across the finish line. Okay. So when it comes to collection accounts, okay, and I say this several times today, do not pay off your collection accounts blindly. Okay. We want to examine those before we do that. That does not always help you. A lot of people think just go out there and pay off those old collections. Your credit score goes up. It doesn't necessarily work that way. So, and I'll go over that in more detail in a few minutes. So the next thing, credit utilization is 30% of what goes into your credit score. So if you have a credit card with a $500 balance and it's a $500 limit, you're not going to get a lot of benefit from that because your credit card's maxed out. Now, if you're over the limit, oh, it really hurts your scores. Okay. But I do get excited about that because if somebody calls me and they have a credit card that's over the limit and they pay it down, in other words, get that utilization to $500 credit card limit, if they pay that utilization down below 30% or down below $150, whoa, your scores go skyrocketing. Now, that's if you're over your limit. If you're, up to the limit but haven't exceeded it and pay it down below 30%, I'm finding lately people are getting a good 30 and sometimes 40-point bounce out of that. And the only thing that I can attribute that to is right now, credit card default rates are skyrocketing. And as a result, the algorithms are rewarding people that have the ability to pay their credit card debts down in an environment where default rates are going up. So I'm seeing a larger lift by paying those credit cards down in this environment than I ever have before. Typically, it's only like a 20-point lift. Lately, I'm seeing 30 and in some cases 40 points. But it depends on your overall credit profile. So, but we can discuss your particular situation when you schedule those calls. So ideally, we want to keep those balances under 30%. Now, for people that are right on the line, leave a couple of dollars on it. Don't pay the cards off. I find that if you leave a $10 balance on your card, some people think, oh, I'll just pay that credit card off. And great, your credit score will shoot up. But if you leave a slight balance, I find people are getting an extra point or two lift by having a little bit of a balance versus zero. Okay. So, and that may not seem like much, but a lot of the programs that I help connect people with, it's like a pass fail type of thing. If that program says the minimum credit score is 600 and your credit score ends up being a 599, we're not in. If it's 600, boom, we're in. Okay. So it's important that you take that into account. Next thing, length of credit history. Okay. So 15% of what goes into the actual credit report, or actually I should say goes into the credit score, is based on your credit history. So please do not pay off and close accounts unless we take a really close look at it. Okay. I had a person a couple of months ago, only had 3 payments left on their car. Okay. Their credit score was like, they just missed. And they thought, oh, I'm just going to pay my car off and that'll boost my score right up. It doesn't work that way. If you don't have a thick credit profile, and that just means if you don't have a lot of accounts out there and you pay something off, you're going to lose that trade line. So in other words, she paid the car off and it showed paid as agreed. Her credit score went down because she doesn't have a lot of credit. Okay. So please do not pay. Now, I'm not suggesting you miss your payments. Always make the payments. That will hurt you even more. But don't prematurely pay something off unless you're coached to do that. Okay. And I actually work with a lender that I can put you in touch with that can pull your credit and run it through a simulator to tell you where it will be. Okay. So not many lenders offer to do that. I have one that will do it free of charge. Okay. So reach out to me and I'll be happy to make that introduction. So please do not close any accounts either. If you've got any old accounts on there, heck, I looked on my credit and I have an old JCPenney card from 30 years ago. Certainly don't know how that survived my bankruptcy, but it did. And it's still out there. And whatever, if I close that account, I'm losing a trade line that's been out there. Again, I don't use it, haven't used it in many years, of course, but every now and then when you look on your credit report, you might see accounts on there that you may not be yours even, but if it's not hurting you, it might be helping you. So don't close accounts unless we have a discussion about it. Okay, next thing. How do we handle student loans, repossessions, bankruptcies, and collections? Okay, student loans are becoming a much larger topic right now, and reason being, people are being forced to actually start making payments on those. So, if your student loan is in deferment, typically means you're still in school. Okay. Now, in order to get approved for a lot of the programs that I help connect people with, we do need to take those out of deferment. At that time, I always tell people, maybe let's experiment and see if we can do an income-based repayment plan for maybe $10 a month, $20 a month, something like that, something that's affordable. Okay. So that's the first step. Now, if your student loans are in forbearance, and not too many are, they kind of extinguish the forbearance path, but we do have to take them out of forbearance and get some payment arrangements. If your student loans are in default, okay, which I'm actually starting to see that now. The student loans were pulled out of repayment, 60, 90 days ago. And as a result, some people haven't made payments and they're going right into default. So you can pull those out. Now, all we have to do, they do have a plan where if you make 3 payments on time, they will flip your status on the credit report from a negative to a positive. So it could work out to your advantage. So picture this. If they I had somebody just the other day, they put their credit report, they put their student loans into default status. Credit scores went down to a 550. So if you call that student loan servicer, get payment arrangements, and get back on track and make 3 payments after 90 days, they're going to take it out of default and show it as paid as agreed. So now it's going from a negative to a positive. I'd be shocked if their score doesn't go 100 points. Okay, so it could go from 550 to 650 in 90 days. Okay, so, but you need to set that up as soon as possible. Now, income-based repayment plans. Some people still might have access to those. If you do not take 0 payments. Okay, it's a little fuzzy. Some people are still getting the income-based repayment plans. If you take a 0 payment, they might say your income is so low you don't need to make a payment. Don't accept that. Tell them, you know what, I'm tired of watching the interest tick up on my student loans. I want to make some type of payment. Sign me up for these $10. And the reason I want to do that, whether it's $10, $20, is when it comes to qualifying you for a loan, we can use that $10 payment or that $20 payment. If it's 0, they won't use it. If it's 0, they're going to go and take a 0.5% of what the balance is. So if you owe $50,000 in student loans, that's a payment of $250 a month that's going to get factored in to the amount that you'll qualify for a mortgage. But if you get it fixed at $10 or $20, they'll use that payment. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Now, with regards to repossessions, actually, I just hung up with someone a few moments ago, co-signed a loan for a friend, and they didn't make the payments, and he had a repossession pop up on his credit. And they basically took his tax refund for the past 5 years. Now, he's paid it off by them taking his tax returns. So, but I get it. Repossessions happen for so many reasons. Whether you co-sign for someone, I got a lot of people that buy cars on some of those B lots that you see out there, those car lots that they look great, whatever. You drive off the lot, bam, the engine dies. And, what do? Nobody wants to pay for something that's not running. And so it's awkward. I hear that situation. So I always tell people, please get those cars inspected before you drive away with them or sign the paperwork. But anyways, if you do have a repossession, it's going to depend on where the balance is. Sometimes if it's a fresh repossession and we can reestablish some type of repayment terms, all we have to do is factor that payment into your debt to income ratios, and we can sometimes get people across the finish line. If the balance is low enough, then obviously we want to try and pay it off. But repossessions are always a tough topic, just for the fact that it's usually, I get it, it's usually based on the fact that somebody's probably got a lemon. It's not too often that I find out where people just couldn't make the payments. It's that the car wasn't drivable. So, and I get it. So that being the case, my goal is to coach you how to handle those debts, maybe reestablish some payments just to get you into the down payment assistance programs and grants. What you do after you're in the house, that's with those car payments, that's up to you. No judgment there. So repossessions, there are some options. I actually had a couple people in the past few months that got approved with old repossessions on their credit. They didn't ask them to pay them off. So if you have old repossessions over 3 years, the algorithms that approve the loans are getting a little bit more forgiving with those. If the rest of the, if it's an isolated incident and rest of the credit's good, those were the type of situations that they didn't ask them to pay it off. So, the next thing we want to talk about, bankruptcies. So there's 2 types of bankruptcies, Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. Chapter 7 is when you wipe the slate clean. Okay, that's when you basically go in front of the judge, they extinguish all of your debts. And, that's actually, if you ever have an option or were to pick between the two, a Chapter 7 is always the best way to go. Okay. I understand Chapter 13, where you put all your debts together and negotiate them down and repay them over time. I understand that is probably the honorable thing that I was raised to do. But I'm telling you, from a business standpoint, if you are at this point, take the Chapter 7. Okay. Wipe the slate clean. Treat your personal life just like any business would. Okay. By far and away, the best way to handle things, in my opinion. So, but I always tell people, contact a bankruptcy attorney. They'll walk you through the options. The night after a Chapter 7, you will be offered credit right away, because you can only do it. You can't do it. I think it's every 7 or 10 years. So that being the case, you're going to get credit offerings right away. So it's very easy to build your credit after a Chapter 7. Pick up a secured card, secured loans, things like that. There's a lot of tools out there. And a lot of people can get their credit scores from 300 all the way up in the 700s in a couple of years if you rebuild your credit. It's very important that you have no late payments after the bankruptcy is discharged. If you have any late payments, your credit scores they'll get hit harder. The reason is the algorithms that generate the credit scores know you got a bankruptcy, you got a free pass. So don't be late after the bankruptcy. Okay. Chapter 13. That's when you take all your debts, put it together, they negotiate some balances down, and then you pay a trustee for the next, 4, 5, 6 years. It's a painful process. It is a long process. And it is possible to purchase a home while you're in a Chapter 13 after you've made 12 payments to the trustee. After your bankruptcy is paid off, then you have to wait 2 years. Kind of a awkward rule, and I understand they are trying to change that, but haven't heard that it's been changed yet. Now, with the Chapter 13, we do have to get a trustee's approval. In other words, the bankruptcy court's going to assign a trustee that's going to basically take care of paying off all of your debtors, or I should say creditors. And so I've only had one trustee say no or fight getting somebody approved or allowing somebody to buy a house while they were in Chapter 13. And the customer's attorney basically filed a motion to go in front of the court, and then the trustee backed down and let us buy the house. And the reason is there's no reason for a trustee to fight us. It's right now, this particular gentleman that I was referring to, he was trying to buy a house in the school district where his kids go to school, and it was a lot less expensive for him to buy a house than to actually rent. And we were getting down payment assistance money to help him. So it was a win-win. So for them to not allow him to do that was absolutely ridiculous, but they did ultimately cave in and allowed him to purchase it. So next thing, collections. And I want to focus on collection because this is really something that trips people up. If you have any collection accounts that are over 2 years old and they are below $500, leave them alone. Okay. A lot of people think, oh, if I pay that off, my score will go up. It might in the long run, but in the short run, no. What's going to happen is, here's a perfect example. People have cable companies. You forget to turn in a box and they charge you $300 and they send it to a collection company and it shows up on your credit report. If it's over 2 years old and you pay it, it's going to show up on your credit next month as collection paid. Where are we? October 2025. You're reactivating it. Your scores are going to go down 30, 40 points. Don't do it. If it's over 5 years old, just let it sit there. If we get you approved for a mortgage on one of these down payment assistance programs and the person approves it, says, yeah, they're approved, I just need you to pay off this collection. Great. We'll pay it off because we're already approved. If your scores go down, it doesn't matter to us. Okay. So we will only pay those small, older collections at the discretion of the lender if they point a finger to them. Okay. Now, if it's a medical collection, those don't, below $500, those don't even factor into your credit scores any longer. Okay. If you have any collections that are less than 2 years, it's kind of a case-by-case basis. If the collection's 1 to 2 years old, we're probably going to run those through a simulator to see whether it's worthwhile paying those off or not. If it's less than a year, I would say 6 months to a year, we'll probably do the same thing. But if it's a fresh collection, we probably want to pay those off. If it's a fresh collection and you pay it off, chances are you can get a quick lift out of it. Because the algorithms look at it like, oh, he caught it last minute, paid it right away. All right, we'll bounce his score. Not up to where it was beforehand, but you'll get some lift out of it. Okay. But that's only if it's a fresh collection. All right. Next thing, here are my steps and how I coach people to take or how to basically boost their credit on their own. The first thing you want to do, go out to annualcreditreport.com. Okay. You can get free credit reports for all 3 credit bureaus. Okay. If you have the ability to buy your FICO scores, do it. Okay. If you don't have the ability to pay for your FICO scores, and make sure they are FICO scores. If it's an Advantage score, don't. We don't go off the Advantage. It's the FICO scores. Remember the models 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. We want to see where those 2 highest credit scores are, and if they're in that strike zone above 600, and what we need to lift. So we're going to take a look at where those 3 credit scores are, pick those credit bureaus where those 2 highest scores are, If we need to lift both of them, we're going to look at those credit reports and see, all right, what items on there are dragging things down? Are there any late payments, collections, things like that? Okay. We are looking for things that we can manipulate to get that quick score. And do we have enough open trade lines? Okay. You do need to have at least 2, sometimes 3, but 2 will usually work. 2 trade lines. And trade line is just an open line of credit, like an auto loan, a credit card, a student loan, things like that. Now, if you don't have any trade lines, but your score is still up there, which does happen. Heck, I have a gentleman we just closed on this week, no trade lines and a 680 credit score. He paid off a car a year ago, never really late on anything else, just didn't have any trade lines. We were able to get alternative trade lines and get those added to your credit report. And I'll go over what those are and how to do it in just a few moments. Okay. Now, if your credit score is in an area of question, we can run your credit report through a simulator or auditor that's going to look at your credit and go, okay, this is what we need to do to get a quick spike in your score. Do we need to add new credit? We can add secured cards, secured loans. You can become an authorized user, all great tools. And I'm going to go over each one of those in just a few moments on how to get them, where to get them, and how to handle different situations. Now, if your credit report if you need to dispute some things on the credit, you can do that too. But be careful when you're disputing things. It's very tempting. Okay. You can actually do it on Credit Karma. Go out there. Oh, I'll dispute everything. Well, what happens is, say you've got a 550 credit score and I dispute everything and your score shoots up to 650 just because you're disputing them. That doesn't work. Okay. What happens is they take all of those things that you're disputing and take it out of the credit scoring algorithm models. And as a result, your scores will shoot up. Okay. It's a false positive because we don't know what's going to happen. If you don't win that dispute, your scores come crashing right back down. And I can tell you, if you have several items, if you have more than 5 items, don't select everything. Don't dispute everything at once. Okay. These credit algorithms are very smart. Okay. They know what you're doing. So be strategic about it. If you have 10 negative things on your credit report, pick 3 at a time. And then next month, pick another 3. And the month after that, pick another 3. Okay. I find 5 is the limit. If you select more than 5 things at once, you might not get anything. The credit bureaus have the ability to declare what you're disputing as frivolous. And if you just say everything is wrong, they'll go, hey, that's just a frivolous request. They're not going to do anything. So be strategic about it. Okay. All right. Here are the do's. Okay. Remember, said we want to go out there and get your credit reports. If you don't, getting through annualcreditreport.com, I understand it's kind of a pain in the butt, but it's good. It's free and you're entitled to it. The easy path is to go through Credit Karma. Credit Karma will give you Equifax and TransUnion. Okay. And you can actually see their credit reports right on there. Keep in mind the scoring model that they're going to give you. I think that's the Advantage score. One of the Advantage models. It's not the FICO score. Okay. So keep in mind that score is not the same. As a result, we don't want to get you excited that your score is where it needs to be. I find the Credit Karma scores can be about 20 points higher than the FICO scores. Okay. So also keep in mind, I have company right now that I'm working with that is just awesome. Guild Mortgage, met these people 3 weeks ago at a housing fair in Detroit. And boy, the way that they are helping me serve the underserved communities, love it. They actually will talk with you, pull your credit, and run your credit through a simulator and tell you what you need to do. And we can work together to figure out what programs are going to be the best fit. Okay. So reach out to me. Happy to make that connection for you. Next thing, we want to see if there are any credit cards out there that we can reduce below 30% to get a quick lift in your scores. Okay. So if you have any credit cards that are maxed out, that is the easiest thing. All we do is pay that balance down and boom, it spikes up. Now, I don't know what your household is like. Never any extra money in my household. So sometimes people need to time things a little bit. Okay. There are ways. If you are in Credit Karma, click on the account. Say you've got a Capital One account. Go on Credit Karma, click on the Capital One account. It'll tell you when that account reports to the credit bureaus. So if that account reports to the credit bureaus on, let's just say today, October 11th, what we want to do is we want to pay that balance down a week beforehand. So pay it all down. Let them report that new data so your score skyrockets by the 11th. Then after it reports and you watch your score go up, if you need to charge it to buy some groceries, I get it. Okay. I know what it's like. So you can do that. Okay. So that's one way of manipulating the process. Just pay it down before it reports. And then, hey, it works. So keep that in mind. It's also important that you know where those credit cards report to, what credit bureaus, which two of the three are they reporting to? Okay. Remember what I said earlier, pay those credit cards down below 30%. You don't have to pay them off. You pay them off, you sometimes get a little bit lower score out of it. Now, if you need to be added as an authorized user, and I just had this conversation with a gentleman a moment ago, I said, hey, no one likes to ask for money. Okay. Not too many people want to be that person. I know I don't. But when you are asking someone to be an authorized user on one of their accounts, you're not. You're just asking for help. Okay. And the conversation in my mind goes more along the lines of this, hey, John, you know what? I can actually get approved for a down payment assistance program to buy a house for my family and I. What's holding us back right now is I don't have enough trade lines on my credit. Is there any way that you can add me to one of your credit cards? I don't need the credit card. I don't need any money. I'm just hoping that I'll get some benefit out of the credit that you've built up over the past few years. It's a pretty easy conversation. And who wouldn't help out a friend or family member that way? Okay. Hey, once I get in the house, take me off the card. I mean, like I said, I don't need the money. I don't need access to it. I just need that help to get that extra trade line. It's a lot less intrusive than asking for money, in my opinion. So those conversations have worked well for me in the past. So hope that helps you. Next thing. Open up a secured card or secured loan as soon as possible. I'm going to go over those in a few minutes, what they are. Gather if we need to build alternative trade lines. If you don't have a thick credit profile, they call it a thin credit profile when you don't have anything on there, we can build trade lines for you by adding things to your credit like rent, cell phone bills, car insurance, things like that. I'm going to go over how we do that in just a few moments. And if you have any collection accounts that are substantial that might trip us up on the automated system, then we want to possibly get some payment arrangements on those. All right. The don'ts. These are the things you don't do. Please do not apply for new credit. Okay. Chances are if you're not going to get it. Okay. Don't do it. We don't need a bunch of inquiries in your credit, pulling your credit scores down. Don't blindly pay off your collections. Like I said earlier, 2 years old, leave them. Anything from 6 months to 1 year or 2 years, case by case basis. Medical stuff, please leave that alone. And anything, 0 to 6 months, we'll run that through a simulator for you. Don't pay off credit card balances. Just pay them down to a few dollars. Don't pay off any loans prematurely. And don't become an authorized user on a new account or an account with late payments. Okay. Make sure when you become you're going to be an authorized user on someone's account, that it is an account that's been out there quite some time and has a low balance or low utilization. And very important, do not employ any of the debt consolidation services. They are starting to surface right now. Okay. And what they do is they promise people that, hey, come to us and we'll negotiate all the balances down on your credit. And then we'll take that over. So we'll make it very easy for you, and we're free. And they extend themselves as being nonprofits. And please don't do those. Most of them, I mean, I think I've found one that is legit. 6 months. For 6 months, do you know what they do? All that money you pay them, they put it in their pocket. That's their profit. And then after 6 months, after your creditors are so fed up with you that they're about to throw you into collection, then they start paying the creditors. Okay. If you are in that spot right now, you're better off just doing bankruptcy. Okay. Because what happens is your creditors your creditors know that you are in a debt consolidation situation, they're going to report it to your credit bureau as John's in debt consolidation. And every creditor looks at that just like you're in bankruptcy. So why be treated by creditors as if you're in bankruptcy without the bankruptcy court protection? So that's why I say to credit counseling, these credit consolidation services, don't do them. Okay. If you're at that space where you need to do it, then you should probably explore bankruptcy. Okay. So they are not your friends. All right. Next thing, credit building tools. All right. First one, secured credit card. Okay. I would tell people, go out to Credit Karma. Capital One offers a really good one. Okay. You send them $300. They send you a credit card with a $300 limit. Once you get it, use it right away. It forces them to set it up, and boom, you'll see your credit score go up 20, 30 points in 30 to 60 days from that one. Try to keep the balance below 30%, or if you have the ability to pay it down and keep it, just a couple of bucks on the card, even better. Next thing, secured loan. Incredible tools to build credit. So I in Southeastern Michigan, credit unions offer these. So wherever you're located, try to find a credit union that offers this. What they'll do, the one that I work with, Michigan First Credit Union, they charge $525. They charge $25 is what I should say. So that money goes away. They take the $500 you give them, they put it in a savings account, lock it down so you can't touch it. But then they give you a loan for $500. And then you just pay that $500 loan off over 6 months. And once it's paid off, they release the money that's locked down in your savings account. The great thing about this is a lot of these credit unions will report it to all 3 credit bureaus as a personal line of credit, which is one of the hardest things to get. People will get a 40 to 60 point bounce out of this maneuver. Takes a little bit longer, needs a couple of payments, but 45 to 90 days, you're going to see a large lift in your credit. Okay. Great tool. Authorized user. We talked about that. It works 90% of the time. Okay. 10% of the time it doesn't. And the reason 10% of the time it doesn't, every now and then we get a phone jockey that actually does it the way they're supposed to do it. And it still works. You'll still get a lift out of it. But I find that most of the people that do it, they enter the start date as the same date that the original card holder opened the account, when what they're supposed to do is list the date that you're added. I find that that's a manual entry for a lot of the people in the call centers, and they don't do it. So 90% of the time you get a great lift out of it. 10% of the time you just get a good lift out of it. Okay, great. And then obviously we want to be a seasoned account, low utilization, and good payment history. Alternative trade lines. So if you have a thin credit profile, we can get things like, now these things, if they're paid for 12 months on time, we can get them added to your credit report to build trade lines for you. Okay. So I had a gamer a few months ago. He had a credit score, but he didn't have any trade lines. So we got his past 12 months bank statements, and we were able to take his Xbox payments, his PlayStation payments, and I think he had some like World of Warcraft or something like that payments that he paid every single month for the past 12 months. They were only like $10 for each thing, but we were able to get all 3 of those accounts added to his credit profile to get him approved for mortgage. So things like your rent, auto insurance, PO box payments, storage unit payments, cable bills, cell phone, renter's insurance, utility bills, monthly subscriptions, Netflix, gaming, gym memberships, whatever you pay on a routine basis, if we can show that they're being paid, and just through your bank statements or through statements, online statements from the creditor, anything like that, we can get that added to your credit report through a third-party aggregator. Okay, it's a little bit of work, but a lot of the lenders that I work with are used to it and they're happy to do it. Okay. It's part of the service. Credit monitoring services. Okay. I always tell people Credit Karma, a lot of people in the mortgage world don't like it. I like it. It's free. It's a good monitoring service. If you can't get in there, try Credit Hero, Credit Sesame. But if it were me, I would be doing Credit Karma, which will give you Experian. It'll give you Equifax and TransUnion, and then go out to Experian and get signed up with them. That'll give you the Experian. That'll give you access to all three of your credit bureaus. Sign up for their monitoring services. They're free. Anytime there's a change in your credit report, boom, they send you an email. It's a good tool to keep up on your own credit progress. All right. Credit restoration services. Okay. Not a big fan of these. I think you can do a lot of this lifting on your own, and they are very expensive. Someone told me Lexington Law's premium service is up to almost $200 a month right now. These are things that you can do on your own. Okay. What they do is they take advantage of the Fair Credit Reporting Act loopholes. Okay. And they will send dispute letters out for you. So what they do is when they send a dispute letter out, the loophole that they are trying to take advantage of is they do everything by mail. So once you challenge something, the credit agencies only have 30 days to investigate it and get back to you with a response. Now, it used to be, 5-10 years ago, where this was a very, very good technique and worked quite well because the credit bureaus and the creditors couldn't meet the timelines. So by the time you sent that letter in, the credit bureau receives it, then has to contact the creditor that furnished the data. If they don't hit that 30-day timeline, they have to remove it. Okay. So that's really what they were doing. Okay. Now in today's digital age where AI, it just happens so swiftly, it doesn't work out nearly as well. It used to be where 30% of the time, the credit bureaus and the creditors couldn't meet the timeline, and then they'd have to remove it. Okay. It doesn't work as well as it used to. And truth be told, you can do a lot of this stuff yourself. Okay. Most of the time I find we can challenge things on maybe Credit Karma, Experian, and get enough of that negative information removed and build new credit. Okay. As much as it is about cleaning up the old credit, it's just as important to add new credit. I find that if all you do is focus on your old credit, your scores are only going to go up to that 580 area and it's going to stall out. You got to build new credit at the same time to get things up into those 600s. Okay. They don't shine in building new credit. They're just all about dealing with your old baggage. Okay. So, but they do have their spot, but they're kind of like a hamster wheel. Once you get on it, they just, they continue to charge you your monthly fees. So if your credit scores are below 500, it's not a bad alternative, but I wouldn't do it more than 3 months. That's 2 cycles. You're going to get rid of the easy stuff right away and then build your credit at the same time. So try not to get sucked into those services for any longer than you have to, if you even need it. A lot of times with all the tools I just went through, you can get your credit score up on your own. Okay. Or if you're not 100% confident in it, reach out to me. I'm happy to help anybody on this site. Here's my phone number, 248-252-7283. Always happy to learn your situation, put myself in your shoes and tell you exactly what I do to take care of the credit situation you have right now and what tools I would use to build new credit. Okay. And let me go out to my Facebook and YouTube friends. Here's my number, 248-252-7283. All right. Good. All right. Now, where do we go from here? Well, like I said, I'd like to help move you forward as much as we possibly can to get you in a position where we can take care of and get you into some of those down payment assistance programs and grants that I love connecting people with to purchase with very little money out of pocket. So take me up on it. I do free webinars. If you're just going through online and stumble across this webinar, wonderful. If you want to see a replay, you'll get a copy of the replay in the next day or so. You can always go out to my YouTube channel. And by the way, Here is a link to my YouTube channel. Please go out there, follow me. Let me add my Facebook. Let me go out here. Here's link to my YouTube channel. And let's go back here and get Facebook. Please friend me on these platforms. Follow me. Sign up. Love to get my more eyeballs on the things that I do. I hope you can get a sense. I really do enjoy helping people, connecting them with it. I feel like there's a lack of quality information on different platforms. So I'm all about paying it up, paying it forward type of thing. So the abundance mindset, as some people call it. But it's a true passion for me. It was a calling. It started many years ago. So love helping as many people as possible. So if you have any friends or family members, please have them reach out to me or send them a link to one of my webinars. But you can always catch this stuff online. Here is another link to my calendar, no down payment required.org/book, where you can book a call with me. And let me get that out. My Facebook friends too. All right. So, boy, I apologize. I know I put a lot of information into a short period of time, but it is a Saturday morning, and I do have appointments that start off at 11:30. So I'm on the go today. If you ever have any questions, hey, text me. My number, 248-252-7283. I am a hawk on that number. Always happy to help as much as I possibly can. And certainly hope well, you know what I should ask? I've got a couple of minutes here. Does anybody have any questions before we break for the day? Okay. Didn't really give a lot of opportunity for questions today. I apologize. I'm just trying to pack too much into a Saturday here. If you do, I have a lot of windshield time today. I am all over Detroit, actually Chelsea outside of Ann Arbor, and back Northville, Novi. So I am all over the map today. So I've got a lot of windshield time. I've got a great hands-free device in my car. So welcome any calls. So reach out to me. Happy to help you any way I can. And certainly hope our paths cross again soon. So have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Thanks for showing up. Goodbye.